Hello and welcome to the Lisbon INSPIRE Hackathon this time. My name is Bente Lilja. I'm going to be your host. I will be wearing a lot of hats this time. I'm going to be Plan for All, which is the coordinator of coordinators of the INSPIRE Hackathon concept. I will be wearing the NextGEOSS hat because I'm a part of that project, and I'm also involved in the NextGEOSS Super Summit, and you will hear and learn more about that shortly. So in this webinar, we will introduce you to the concept of the INSPIRE Hackathon, the distributed INSPIRE Hackathon, the Lisbon INSPIRE Hackathon, and of course you will learn a lot about NextGEOSS and DataBio, which is the two main projects, but we have other projects that will also contribute to this super event. You will learn about the overall concept. You will also be presented with some ideas so that it can make your brain work, and maybe you have your own idea and maybe you want to join the team. So that is the program for this webinar. We aim to do this within half an hour, so that you know that. You can ask questions in the chat box, and we will read the questions if you have questions to any of us. So with that, we do first a tour de table. So to introduce you to my fellow speakers, attendees in the webinar room. So I will start with you, Alaitz. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself before we start?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Alaitz Zabala from UAB, University Autonomous of Barcelona, and I am working in NextGEOSS mainly to develop the user feedback system. And yeah, more or less you will hear about that in a while.
More later, for sure. And then Arne Jørgen, you introduce yourself as well.
Yes, hello. My name is Arne Berre. I'm from SINTEF, Norwegian Research Institute, working in the DataBio project that we'll hear a little bit about later. Also in the Big Data Value Association, dealing with big data. Particular Earth observation is an area where we see synergies that we want to explore in this context.
Excellent. I mean, we'll hear more about that. Yes. And Koushik, how about you?
Hi everyone. My name is Koushik. I'm located at Lisbon. I work for DEIMOS Engineering. I am currently the project coordinator for the NextGEOSS project that you have been hearing about a lot. And yeah, so today I will introduce you to some of our key components and some of the services of NextGEOSS. So looking forward to it.
Yes. And now I will first introduce you a little bit to the INSPIRE Hackathon concept. We will not spend a lot of time on it, but just so you get the context of this webinar. So we have this concept of the INSPIRE Hackathons, which the INSPIRE name is referring to the INSPIRE directive. And the main purpose of that is to make the data and the information interoperable across institutions in Europe and institutions across nations in general. So this fits very well with what we need to do in the Earth observation community. We need to make the data interoperable, not only across fields, but also in Earth observation, but also with other types of data like statistics, economic data, and so on. And you will hear more about that later today. So this is the concept of the INSPIRE Hackathons. Now, the NextGEOSS Summit. We have a summit every year in this project. So the NextGEOSS-DataHub and platform is providing coordinated access to Earth observations in Europe, and it's a major contribution to GEO, the group on Earth observation. We are having 10 pilots that we have been working very closely with to develop this data hub and the platform. And this is what we want to offer to you who participate here in this hackathon. And we use the summit to tell you more about it, because the summit will happen in Lisbon on the 1st and the 2nd of July. And a part of the hackathon will take place literally in Lisbon. Another part of the hackathon, starting right away today, this is the kickoff, will happen virtually. And you will be able to communicate online via Google Docs is where you can describe your problems, your solutions, share information, but you can also use the normal, tools that we have today online, namely Skype and Zoom and what have you. So you can interact and work from the comfort of your home in the next couple of weeks, and then we can enjoy the time together in Lisbon. And first of all, you start then with participating in the summit, the first day of the summit. And I think I will share my screen so then you can see the dates and get a little bit better overview of what will happen, like, the program for it. So I will share my screen very quickly.
Yes, thank you. Let me open up for that. We'll see if I can get to show this. Okay, so now I think you see a little bit of the advertisement of the Lisbon INSPIRE Hackathon on the screen. Yeah. Let me see now if I turn that there. Now you should see only the window. Yeah, exactly. So this is actually a distributed hackathon because in parallel with our Lisbon hackathon, we will run one in Patras in Greece. In Greece, it will be focusing on Earth observation, AI, and agriculture, while we in Lisbon will focus on Earth observation and the ocean. And we will do some synchronizations on the way. We will have different teams with different ideas. I'll present one team idea which is related to fishery data and also how to do privacy preserving analytics for sensitive fishery data. So one of the underlying concepts we have here is that there is a number of projects now having interesting related information in terms of data sets. I represent the DataBio project. So the concept from our point of view is that we have a hub with data sets, we have components and pipelines, and we want to explore this in synergy with other projects like the NextGEOSS platform, also with other Earth observation data sets and services from other projects. We will focus in particular with the team idea we have on fishery data, on fishery catch, which is interesting because there are some sensitive data that we want to combine with open data to do various kind of analytics and reporting, combining this. And also one of the potentials we see that can increase the usage and interest in the whole Earth observation area is the combination with sensitive data like fishery catch. For those who are fishing, they would know that fishermen not normally share all of the details of the time and place for the fishery immediately. They might share later, but there is of course scarce resources of fish, and this is important also for fishery sustainability, and it's actually a need to report the catching of fish for the management, even though it's sensitive data. So this is what we would like to say explore some aspects of, and to see what we can use of the joint resources of a number of projects like NextGEOSS, the DataBios, but we also have Intaros and Atlantos and eShape. And in the Greek agri context, we have EU for Agri. The Plan for All is an underlying project that is supporting this. Now this first days in July. So just the logos of some of these projects. And particularly from the DataBio project, which is one of the European Commission Horizon 2020 Big Data PPP, Public-Private Partnership projects. It is a flagship project or large-scale pilot, closer to 20 million euro over 3 years, and we are in the last year now. So we have already now available a number of data sets, a number of analytics components, a number of pipelines putting the components together, both in agriculture, forestry, and fishery, and pilots. 25 pilots are using this. But what we want to do in the hackathons is to explore this for new pilots, say new ideas that can take advantage of the available data sets, components, and pipelines. And for the Lisbon hackathon, we want in particular to focus on the ocean and marine data and fishery in that context. So fishery data that we want to bring to the table here is, since we're from Norway, we have a lot of fishing information from the Barents Sea and the North Sea and around the Norwegian coast. Obviously, we sell this bacalao fish to Portugal later when it's dried up. So here is where it's coming from and how it's being managed. And there is a lot of interesting information around this that can be combined now with Earth observation for various kind of analytics. So this is available, but as I said, some of the time and place of catch is kind of sensitive. So normally we don't get that data. But if we can provide it with the guarantees that the data analytics will be done using privacy-preserving analytics, we will get it. And we see here a solution called ShareMine from Cybernetica in Estonia, which is also a DataBio partner. Their ShareMine solution is guaranteeing privacy-preserving analytics so that the data is not compromised to others through the use of multi-party computation. So this is something we want to explore together with open data sets, fully open, so we can have different levels of sensitivity management. And then we want to bring it into the context of a lot of the existing open APIs from the OGC world, from various API services and components that can be available for different kind of analytics, and also support of a combination of the data with different modeling. So modeling the physics and biology aspects of fish and ocean, and also use it as a basis for machine learning and deep learning for doing forecasting of catch probability areas, looking at this over time. So we have a lot of this data with the different level of openness that can be combined. So it's a complex picture of many different data sources that can be brought together. And we see now even more Earth observation data. Particularly the Sentinel-3 satellites now provide interesting marine data on salinity and sea temperatures. A lot of valuable data that can be combined into the analytics and also be used together with the more sensitive data. So then we will have a foundation for visualization and analytics in different ways, looking at all of the details of where the fish has been caught at what time, with the different aggregation context, because obviously some of this will be also sensitive for at least the immediate time periods. So this is the approach of combining data from many different sources and components and pipelines from these projects. So we can have results in terms of further predictions and detailing of what we can assume can be useful fishery areas, and various aspects of sustainability and fish regulation in this context based on the available data. So as a hackathon, I guess we are kind of in the Ideathon area. We have still a few weeks or 2 weeks, a little bit more than a week at least, until we meet in Lisbon. That will be used for some more detailed ideas and planning for this. But this is the overall context and the starting point. Okay, this is what I plan to say so far, Bente, on this. Yep.
Okay, can you see my slides now? Again, the same than the other day. I am seeing them in. I did the same than before, than this morning. Let me change that off and on again, and then pantalla compartir. So now I'm changed to presentation. I go to presentation mode. It's okay now? I'm present. I don't understand.
No, it's fine.
Now it's fine? Okay, sorry for that. Let's go then. As Bente and I said before, I'm developing spatial user feedback within NextGEOSS project. And then just to mention as well that Bente said, we are having the summit in a few days. I will be presenting some more of it there. And also we will have the training, and I will be doing a small training part about integrating user feedback. So you're very welcome to come if you want. But what we have in mind for this hackathon is to develop a better inclusion of scientific publications and geospatial user feedback. So, I am at the end of the presentation. Yeah, at the moment, the initial members are Joan Mazó from CREAV and myself, but I hope someone else can be willing to join us. So at the moment, related projects are NextGEOSS and EcoPotential, but maybe, as I said, someone else can join and try to help with this or integrate user feedback in their systems. The idea is to include these scientific publications in geospatial user feedback, automatically importing them. And why? Because at the moment, you can relate publications to several feedback items. So, for example, you can give a report of what you have done with a certain data, or a report evaluating some specific resource, and then this is creating knowledge about that resource, and you want to join that to this element, and you publish this in a scientific journal. So to get this element related to the user feedback, you need to fill in, as you can see in the right side, many elements: the title of the publication, in which journal, which volume, dates, pages, even authors. So this is a not super complex, but a bit long and also manual process. So you can get some at least mistakes doing that. And then to save your time and also to avoid those mistakes, this is why we are proposing in this hackathon to use common citation formats. You have an example here of Tyler and Francis, but many publishers are using those download citation formats that you can then get, and you get the whole reference for a certain publication using a standard format. So as you can see here in the right side, for example, in this case, just a simple textual and simple file containing all the information that you, after this hackathon, we will be able to copy and paste it in the system, and it will automatically create the complete citation properly with no mistakes, and of course easily for you. And why this is relevant? Because we think that being able to join scientific journals or scientific journals papers to your feedback items, and then this is to your resources, is really interesting, because it allows building knowledge base, because it allows some users looking at what other users have done with this data, and to looking at the results, what they get, and everything. Then it helps the knowledge to be created and to be evolving easily, and this is why we think this is relevant. And then after that, we will like to continue developing a little bit more user feedback, especially in the way of how this user feedback allows us to store the usage of users of a certain resource. Because as I was saying, it's kind of interesting to know what others are doing with your resources or with certain resources, in order to be able to share that or get what others have done with the same data, and so on. We will be doing that in the EcoPotential project and in NextGEOSS, of course. And before finishing, I also want to offer myself to support other teams working in this hackathon that wants to work on their own community portals. If they want to integrate the spatial user feedback, this is completely ready to be integrated. It's following standards, and it can be integrated really fast if you want, you go for the widget, so for the first option. But if you want to go for more personalized options, you also can do that. You have the documentation on GitHub, and of course you can contact us whenever you want to ask for help. So thank you very much, Bente, and this is from my side. Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen right now. So let me. All right. Great. So my idea is that, so since already Alaitz talked about the user feedback, so I would just give you a quick sneak peek into our some of the key components, and where I think, and it might give you some ideas about some creating some groups for this hackathon, and also some possibly some solutions and discussions around that. So I will quickly go through that. So we for next year's project, there are three main pillars. We have a data hub, which is based on open standards and is publicly and openly available. We have we are also developing a set of platform services, and our pilot applications, as Bente talked about, are the guidance of developing all these data, all the services and the data hub. So what do we have in the data hub? And we currently we are harvesting almost more than 1 million data sets. As you can see, quite a vast variety of data providers that we have connected with, and we are consolidating and harvesting into our data hub, which is this activity is done in collaboration with DEIMOS and Datopian, and also which allows you to look for data. You can do it manually by visiting our catalog, which is openly available, and also you can actually get access to data through an API, which is our open search API, which we are complying with the OGC standards. And the way we are developing the data hub is that it's integrated with the quality of service. It means that it's reliable, and it's where you can actually look for your data as you need. There are different ways to look for to search for data by looking at the data collections, or also, as you can see here, also you can search for data based on data providers. Now coming to the services that we have, and I think this is where we can actually collaborate with you, all of you who are going to participate in this hackathon. And there are several services. For example, we have data cataloging. And while listening to Arne, I got an idea that maybe we can actually think of, for example, cataloging data from DataBio. And he also mentioned about sensitive phishing data, and we can also think of anonymizing such data, and then after anonymization we can catalog into our NextGEOSS. So these are some of the ideas we can actually play around as well. At the same time, we want to see if one of you are quite interested, we can actually look for cataloging your data in an automated way, automated or semi-automated way. So that's something we can explore to make sure that that we can get the data into DataHub quite faster and easier way. We also have some services like data discovery using our OpenSearch API. So why not we can try out, like if you have an application and you want to access data or you want to look for metadata, we can actually have some ideas around using our APIs and build some data processing applications. User feedback, Alaitz has already explained to you about. We do also have cloud integration, so we can have some ideas around integrating your application in cloud. What you need, what's our experience has been so far. We can share with you as well. And then we have the user management and operational analytics and dashboards, and that's something for me is quite interesting. What Arne was talking about the analytics of sensitive data and also the phishing data. So that's something we can already start thinking about as part of this hackathon. And we also have some of the other services coming up, for example, Sentinel Data Linker service. And as we go, we can probably discuss more in details. So in short, these are the pilots that we are already integrating with. So, and these are the pilots has been making use of the services which I have already described. And then just quickly go to the next slide. So what I just described you earlier, so all these things has been combined into this in just one diagram. So as you can see how all these services or all these components are playing with hand in hand, and they have been interacting with each other to build such a service here. And we now have extended our services into 3 sets of offering, and that might be quite interesting with what I just described with some of the ideas. Like for example, we can try it out if you want to catalog your data, which is our Link Your Data service. In fact, we can actually see how we can create a service catalog. So if you have your processing service, we can look for a way in the hackathon how we can do it in a day. And catalog into our data hub. At the same time, we see how we can integrate, for example, user management or a single sign-on for your community portal. You want to build some analytics of your application, how much resources you are using. So there are plenty of ideas, and our NextGEOSS team. On behalf of the NextGEOSS team, I would say that we are quite excited, and we are looking forward to you and contribute to this hackathon with our offerings here. And if you want to know more about NextGEOSS, our technical components, our services, feel free to visit our website. And also, if you want to explore our data hub, our catalog is open, and this is the link. You can actually visit and start looking, and hope probably it will motivate you with some new ideas. All right, so that was all, Bente, that I wanted to share with you here. One thing I would like to say that we all, on behalf of DEIMOS, we all welcome you to our facility on the 3rd of July, and here at our office. I would like to, and also I'm looking forward to have some interesting discussions and some ideas, and possibly we can get some good results out of this hackathon. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.